Hi, in this video, we're going to talk about the 3 uncommon signs he wants to commit to you. Stay tuned. There are several obvious signs when a guy wants to commit to you, but there's also some uncommon signs that maybe a lot of people don't even pay attention to. And there are so often times that if you look at this, what he's doing the wrong way, it can actually cause a conflict instead of a connection. So I want to talk about the 3 uncommon signs that he wants to commit to you. And this is in no specific order, but one thing that a guy does when he really wants to commit to you is that he introduces you to people that he cares about and that he loves. Now, this is not always family, because I'm a firm believer that the people that you're related to are not always family, and family are not always people that you're related to. Because in my personal life, there are people that I've been known for 10, 15, 20 years in my life that are more family to me than people that I've known my entire life since I was born. And there's nothing wrong with that. But understand that when it comes to the people that he cares about, he wants to introduce you to them because he wants to get their approval and validation and their assessment of you on things that maybe he can't even see within you. But also he wants to understand from your perspective, how do you feel about these people? And he wants to also introduce you to people in his life that he trusts. And if he feels like you're going to eventually be in his life, these are also people that you can trust in him as well. Not only in him, but also in those people that you're going to meet. So he's trying to make the bridge of this connection of 2 people or 2 groups of people that he really cares about. And if he really wants to commit to you, he's going to introduce you to those people that are important to him and that he can trust and that he can rely on, and those people that he really feel like have a great assessment. And they're not just going to tell him what he wants to hear, but they're going to tell him what's best. Number 2, he starts to reveal his non-negotiables. What are his deal breakers? What are things that he have a strong passion and conviction about that he's unwilling to compromise regardless to how infatuated he is with you or how much he likes you? When a guy really wants to commit to you, he starts to reveal these things to you because in his mind, he really likes you. He wants things to go long term, but he wants to understand up front. Can you handle this, or what do you think about this, or do you agree with this? And if not, or if so, what are your thoughts on this? Because there are sometimes when people have a disagreement in an agreeable manner and it can still be harmonious, if you will. But there are other times when there's a strong conviction and passion about something where, no matter how much we like each other initially, these things would not allow us to go forward, knowing that, we can't be happy long term because this is a bridge in between us that is broken. But another thing that, is very common when people talk about non-negotiables, but unfortunately people don't talk about, is money. There are so many situations where people avoid money because of embarrassment or because of, bad habits, or because they just think it's not important. When you're thinking about committing your time, your life to somebody, money is an extremely important subject for you to broach on so many different levels, but unfortunately people don't really talk about that. But when it comes to a real quality guy who sees you as somebody long-term that he wants to be with and he really wants to commit to you, he's going to discuss the topic of money. Even if he's discussing his own situation where, maybe he's made some wrong decisions, bad investments, and he's in debt, or, he just doesn't have as much as he thinks you want him to have. But either way, he's going to bring that up, and that for him is going to be a non-negotiable. From another perspective, maybe he's thinking about, okay, I'm going to bring my topic up of money discussion to see where she is. And if you are in debt or you have money challenges or whatever, it's not that he's not going to want to be with you, but he wants to know, how do you handle the situation? Do you have poor money management skills? Do you have bad habits? Are you somebody that just blows money? Because in his mind, if he's trying to build something and you're trying to tear it down, no matter how infatuated and how much he likes you, it's just not going to work long time. And another thing that comes up is when it comes to non-negotiables are the topic of discipline when it comes to kids, especially if you're younger, or if you're at the age where you're, want to have children, or maybe if you already have children with somebody previous, but you're getting into a new relationship. Having that discussion is something that a quality man is going to want to bring up, because in his mind, he wants to know, number one, what is your thought process on discipline? Do you see yourself as a disciplinarian? Do you see me as the man as a disciplinarian? And if so, what does that look like for us? So just so we don't allow our children to come in between us, or if we don't allow your child or my child to come in between us. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to two people that are committed in a relationship, you are connected to everything else that is connected to that person, but realistically, it's only two people in that relationship, but it does have other things that influence it. So a real quality man that really wants to commit to you, he's going to bring up the topic of some of those things that are, just non-negotiables for him. And I'll say for me, money and children were a big important factor for me to also discuss with somebody that I want to consider in my life. But a non-negotiable for me was a woman that smoked. Now, I will say that I have people in my family, people that I love, friends, that smoke. But when it comes to somebody that I was going to really commit to long term, that could potentially be my wife, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, that was something that was a non-negotiable for me. Now, understand this. When you have a non-negotiable, or somebody else that you want to be with have a non-negotiable, it's not to say that that person is bad, they're wrong, it means something negative, nothing at all. It just means that you or that person just might not be compatible, because for me, it wasn't that the young lady I was with was, a bad person or anything no, she was great, but it just, when it came to smoking, that was something that was a non-negotiable for me. Now, I will tell you this, in that situation, this actually happened long before my wife and I ever got to date each other and got married, but I was with somebody for 3 years, and I didn't realize that this person smoked until at the end of our relationship. She did a phenomenal job of hiding it, but the thing about it is, she did not feel like she could be herself around me, which is a big thing. When somebody that smokes, that's an addiction to a lot of people, and it's like when you can't reveal to somebody that's a part of your life, that means that you can't really be yourself. That means that you're not being authentic. And if you cannot be yourself around somebody, then that's a sign that that person is not for you. Now again, it wasn't that I was bad or she was bad, but it just was not a match for us. Now I will say she's going on to marry somebody great, and obviously I have a phenomenal wife, so we both were not bad people, we just were not compatible for and with each other. So even if you're dating somebody and they have a non-negotiable that is not compatible with something that you do or something that you're unwilling to give up, understand it's not a negative thing. It's not something that you should feel negative towards that person or take it personal, because it could be anybody who has these non-negotiables on the other side is just not compatible. So I want to reiterate also that when somebody really wants to commit to you, there are times when you start to have unhealthy disagreements. Because when this person starts to bring up things they have a strong conviction and passion about, and these are things that they're not going to compromise on, sometimes that brings up subjects where there could be a healthy disagreement. And I will say this, it's a difference between a disagreement and an argument, because you can disagree with somebody in an agreeable manner and things turn out better than they ever would have had that disagreement not even came up. But then there's an argument on the other hand. It's like when you start to argue with somebody, you start to feel like really negative feelings toward them, or you start to even just feel negative even when the person's name is right. Like, that's unhealthy. But I'm just talking about a healthy disagreement, because disagreements can actually cause you to understand where you stand and where this other person stands with different topics. And when you start to have healthy disagreements with somebody, it only means one thing. It means that there's a topic that came up where this person has fear around the future. And that's a good thing, because whenever somebody has fear around the future and the topic is related to you, that means that that person sees you within their future. And that's a phenomenal thing, because when somebody wants to just use somebody, they don't really care what you disagree with. They don't really care what they disagree with. They don't really care about the non-negotiables, the passions and convictions, because they don't see you as valuable. They don't see you as being around. And a quality man is going to bring those things up, because he understands the most valuable asset that any of us have is time. He doesn't want to waste your time, and he definitely does not want to waste his. So he's going to bring up those non-negotiables for him, those deal breakers, to really understand before we get any further, before I start to invest more of my time, my energy, and get more into you than I already am, let's not waste each other's time and talk about these non-negotiables to see if they are something that we can actually work out. Now, I will say this, and this kind of goes into to number 3. Somebody that really wants to commit to you, they're going to start to share things that are vulnerable, things that you can actually use against them if you chose to in various situations. You know, it could be something about his health. You know, it could be something even about his finances. It could be something about his family. It could be just something that is embarrassing to him, something that could, again, destroy him literally, but something that he just does not share with everybody. And I'll tell you this, I remember when my wife started back dating before we got married, I remember sharing some things with her that I've never shared with anybody before. And some of those things, it wasn't that they were like deep and secretive and life-threatening, but my reason for sharing those things with her was that was my way of letting her know that, you know what, I trust you in a way that I've never trusted anybody before, and I see you like I've never seen anybody before, and I'm sharing these things with you because I want to be 100% vulnerable, and I want to give you access to hurt me in such a way to prove if you will or you won't. Now, I know that might sound crazy to some people. Now, you never want to be unwise and tell people and share things with them that can literally destroy you, and you don't really have that trust built up, because some people will actually take that, use that, and destroy you. But it's like when you really know 100% and you know that you can trust this person, and you want them to understand that I'm revealing something to you that I don't reveal to anybody else, that is a sign that this person wants to commit to you. And for me, that is what I did with my wife. And the fact that she handled what I shared with her in a wise way, that communicated to me, this is gonna be my wife. Because a lot of times a man, and it's not about games, he wants to understand, how are you going to use and handle what I'm giving to you? And a lot of times men will do a lot of things to prove to himself that you're actually trustworthy of what he wants to share with you, because a lot of men want to share certain things, but they don't really feel you're deserving or that you can actually handle it. And I will say that a lot of men do not share things that are vulnerable, that can cause them to be destroyed, because they have trust issues. But they also understand that if I share things with you, it can cause me to actually lose this relationship, and I want this relationship more than I want to be honest. But quality men, they're going to tell you what's honest. They're going to be upfront with you. And even if they really like you and they're really into you, they do not want to waste your time, and they don't want to get hurt. So when it comes to a man wanting to commit to you, these 3 uncommon things will actually reveal to you really if he wants to commit to you or not. And I would encourage you to make sure that you look over these and evaluate these in your relationship currently and any future relationship that you might get in. If you like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you know somebody that could benefit from this information, please share it with them. But until next time, this is Chris Cannon, your encouragement coach, reminding you that the battle is not lost unless you accept defeat.